I'm back, y'all. It's me, Erica. Welcome to my channel and good morning. We on it. Um, with we back. I'm back with the still watching the runoff, guys. As of last night, Warnock did win a Senate seat, which is the first time an African American holds a Senate seat in Georgia ever. And John Ossoff is still in the lead. Also, in about 11 minutes, we're going to see Congress affirm President elect Biden's win. And it's going to be some drama. I just want to let y'all know in advance, it's going to be some drama. If you watched the rally this morning that Trump held for the March to Save America rally that MAGA and his supporters are holding in DC. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, you make up your own mind. But anyway, yeah, so you guys know that I get my news from CNN and TYT, the Young Turks, the Rational National, the Damage Report, and other stuff. But I'm on CNN right now. They are, it looks like Congress is getting ready to affirm President-elect Biden's win. Guaranteed it's going to be some drama for your mama today. It's going to be something else. It's going to be like the circus. And oh my God, did you hear in the rally how Trump literally just went against his own party? He called them weak Republicans. Attempt the show that we're going to see them put on today. He said something about Mike Pence. I don't know yet, but that's the tea. To Alan Curran. Go ahead, Norm. And you guys are able to hear. I had to take my headphone out. I hope y'all heard all that. I forgot. My headphones was plugged up.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't been a parliamentarian per se, but you've certainly been involved in conversations about.
And I'm going to be going back and forth, guys.
What is necessary constitutionally and what is
y'all know I'm hood with it. I'm your friendly neighborhood commentator.
We constantly work through these issues.
So I have a lot of devices because I also run. I have a station on Station Head, which is an online radio station. And I have to, I'm running that. I have a show on there every morning. My station is the EJB Experience. And I have a show on there every morning called I Am Erica. Good morning, I Am Erica. So that's going on right now. And I'm also keeping that audience updated with what's going on with the special, with the Georgia Senate special runoff. And also keeping them updated with what's going on with Ossoff and Purdue. And right now, Purdue is about 100 some not thousand votes. I mean, excuse me, Ossoff is over Purdue by over 100,000 some odd votes. So that's what's popping right now.
Dissenting.
And y'all could get in the comments and say hello, because it's going to be live and in living color, and only the way I could do it,
These electoral votes shouldn't be counted, even though he ultimately will have to count them.
And you got, I've been watching CNN, so a lot of Republicans are actually coming on the news saying that, but everybody pointing blame on who lost the election and why the presidency was lost and all that. It's crazy. It's like we're going to witness a civil war between the GOP, the Republican Party. That's what I think. I think that we're about to witness. I kept saying that it was going to be a civil war, and it was going to be like Trump supporters, MAGA, Proud Boys, all them against America. Right now, we are going to witness a civil war in Congress. Again, it's going to be Republican against Republican. How y'all talk on black crime? It's about to be Republican on Republican crime all day, all 2021. And so everybody's coming in right now. Vice President-elect, and as one Harris Senate aide put it, they said the American people did their job, and now Harris will be doing her job today as she is looking ahead to voting during these proceedings that really should just be a formality. But so the proceedings are really just something ceremonial to, and they read off each vote from each state, and then bam, it's done. This is absolutely crazy.
Affirmation of the strength of our democracy. They come to a joint session for a day like this. They come to a joint session for the State of the Union. There's supposed to be.
When I say this is something. I'm 51 years old, guys. I was born in 1969. The first president I could think of that I remember was Gerald Ford, if I'm not mistaken. And then I remember Jimmy Carter, then Reagan, then you went from Reagan to Bush, and then I think Bush to Clinton, back to Bush, Obama, and now this Trump, and now Biden. That's my history. But my grandmother raised me on politics. She said that it was important that I knew how this country was ran, who ran it, get to know all the candidates, all the politicians, study who they are and all that, because she said it was very important that I know this. And I have my grandmother, Ruby, is no longer with us, R.I.P. Granny, but she taught me something, and really it's like a hobby of mine. I love politics. I love watching politics. I love the excitement of it. I don't know about loving this foolery that's about to happen today in Congress. It is going to be a circus. Crazier, better than Barnum and Bailey could ever, any show they could ever put on. And I'm ready for it. I done already wake and bake. This is a marijuana type channel. I do smoke weed. Oh, okay. So I see Mike Pence, and he got people surrounding him, and they talking to him. Looks like they all just, I see Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell. They all standing around each other with a few other people coming in. But Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence has arrived. Mitch McConnell, they're all walking in together. And we got Jim Acosta, who is the chief White House correspondent for CNN. He is the one that is doing the correspondent of today. Okay, so senators are about to walk to the House to affirm the Biden win. And what I learned is that you guys can hear when I turn my TV up. I'm going to kind of turn it this way so y'all can see. Don't judge me. Oh, that's Nancy Pelosi. All right, I'm going to turn the volume up for you guys.
Acknowledge some of the president's misgivings about the election. He says, after an election with significant allegations of voter irregularities and numerous instances of officials setting aside state election law, I share the concerns of millions of Americans about the integrity.
All right,
of this
Capitol
election.
Hill is about to be lit.
He goes on to say there's some other
Capitol
context
Hill
that we
is
have.
about to be
He goes on
litty.
here to say, given the controversy surrounding this year's election,
All right, guys. So I'm about to go on my station and let them know what's going on. So I'm going to mute my TV.
Vice President, I should be able to accept or
I never know where the buttons are on my dang remote. Who else has that issue? And y'all get in the comments. When people start rolling in, y'all get in the comments and say, good morning. Why y'all grew to Buddha by LMA? Senators are now at Capitol Hill. I did see Vice President Pence walk in with Mitch McConnell not too far behind, right behind him, with all the other senators walking in. And this basically is just a final step to affirm President-elect Biden's victory over Trump. So I will keep you guys posted as much as I get updates. I am going off of CNN. And Jim Acosta, he's reporting today. So how they give it to me, I'm going to give it to y'all. You can also watch me. I am live on YouTube right now. I did put my YouTube handle in the comments. And yep, I put my YouTube handle in the comments. And I also put my IG handle in the comments so y'all can follow me on IG. And you can follow me on YouTube so that you can get this live broadcast. All right, y'all. So, yeah, enjoy the music, and I will be back with some updates. And also, Dr. Dre is doing great. He did post on his IG page after he was rushed to the hospital and put in ICU for a brain aneurysm last night. He did post maybe an hour or so later that he was doing great and shouted out his medical team at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles for doing a great job. So, hey, that's what's up. Y'all get into this tank when we. And I'm back. God, it's all kind of people walking in with stuff. Oh, they're clapping for.
He's also the president of the Senate. If there's a tie, the vice president, as president of the Senate, breaks that tie. We're watching
Mike Pence
walk in.
He walked into Capitol Hill. It is 1:00 p.m. Their time. I'm in Las Vegas, so it's only 10 o'clock my time.
Dramatically from what the president himself said within the past hour.
And Pence has said already that he does not have authority to do what Trump wants him to do. Like, basically, in her terms, he like, I ain't going to jail for you, fool. I'm not about to mess up all my hard work and my career for you. Hey, real quick. Free hugs. Anybody that get out of line on my thing, I'm giving you Chucky free hugs.
Leading this joint session, a historic moment indeed, John. We've seen
that's what you're gonna get.
Before, usually,
effing with me today. Let's keep it cute. And if you don't,
as we pointed out, it's not a normal day.
I'm giving out Chucky free hugs. But before I do that, I will burn some Palo Santo.
Sometimes obscures remarkable moments in history. The next time we see the joint session, it will be the female Speaker of the House and the female Vice President of the United States.
In a good
in the number 2 and the number 3 positions in line of succession to the President of the United States. A woman of color as Vice President of the United States. This should be a historic moment. I know Republicans.
It is a historic moment. It's a historic moment all the way around, but the haters ain't gonna let it be great.
But what should be a celebration of democracy again becomes a toxic
God,
environment because the
I don't know. That's Nancy Pelosi and the Vice President.
Joe Biden won the election.
I wish you could see now the masks aren't off, so you can't really see the expressions. All you can see is the eyes, so we don't know what's going on.
To so publicly and dramatically tell the President of the United States, you are wrong. I have to do what the Constitution wants. We're seeing the leaders of the House and the Senate. You see Chuck Schumer, assuming the second Senate seat goes in the Democratic way, John, it looks like it will happen. Schumer is going to be the majority leader, and Mitch McConnell is going to be the minority.
He is, and that is a dramatic change in its own right, a big change in the dynamic of power here. Look, it'll be a very narrow, the narrowest possible Democratic majority, but what a different world that will be for Joe Biden on the floor of the Senate. You mentioned the one outstanding Georgia race. I was just looking, there are about 60,000 plus, a little over 60,000 votes outstanding. More than 50,000 of them come from counties that voted either by a decent margin or a bigger margin for Democrats. John Ossoff's lead is going to grow. It's just without doubt. So that, if you will, is a backdrop for this. The Republicans who are going to stand up and object to math, object to democracy, object to what the Constitution of the United States says today, they have to know that just yesterday in Georgia, again, a state that has been ruby red for a generation, just said no and sent one and probably most likely two Democrats to Washington, including a black man in Senator-elect Warnock. And so the Republicans have to know that. That's why you see this divide. This, instead of being a celebration of American democracy, and again, sure, the Republicans lost. They have hard feelings about it. But this is supposed to be a day where you put all that aside and celebrate. Instead, Republicans have to be looking over their shoulders a little bit. This is a side-choosing day. Do you stay with Trump, or do you decide that chapter is going to be over and I'm willing to break from him? This is going to be fascinating.
We see those mahogany boxes that are the result from the Electoral College. And let's not forget, John, that
it's
Biden
about to
won
get
this
crazy,
election
y'all. I'm
with
telling
a
you, it's about to get nuts.
7 million votes. All 50s. Hold on a second.
For this
Hold on,
important
Nancy Pelosi is speaking.
historic meeting. Let us remind that each side, House and Senate, Democrats and Republicans, each have 11 members allowed to be present on the floor. Others may be in the gallery. This is at the guidance of the attending physician and the sergeants at arms. The gentleman on the Republican side of the aisle will please observe the social distancing and agree to what we have 11 members on each side so that we can responsibilities to this chamber, to this responsibility, and to this House of Representatives. Please exit the floor if you do not have an assigned role from your leadership.
Basically, she's saying,
if you want to have a few more.
if
But
you do not belong here, get out.
Floor of the House.
If you ain't supposed to be here, get out, or we gonna escort you out. Get out. And they yelling and stuff already. So there's some lady down there really going crazy. They just muted the sound. And this song goes out to my nephew, Travion Jones, who loves Summer Walker. And this is his favorite song because he played it a lot.
The Senate and House of Representatives are meeting in joint session.
I'm doing my radio show and this.
Verify the certificates and count the votes of the electors
Mike
of the several
Pence is up.
states for President and Vice President of the United States. After ascertainment has been had that the certificates are authentic and correct in form, the tellers will count and make a list of the votes cast by the electors of the several states. The tellers on the part of the two houses have taken their places at the clerk's desk. Without objection, the tellers will dispense with the reading of the formal portions of the certificates. After ascertaining that the certificates are regular in form and authentic, the tellers will announce the votes cast by the electors for each state, beginning with Alabama, which the parliamentarians advised me is the only certificate of vote from that state and purports to be a return from the state, and that has annexed to it a certificate from an authority of that state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors. Mr. Blunt.
Somebody yelling at the vice
The
president.
gentleman from Virginia rose.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Vice President. In order to follow with the speaker's instructions that only a limited number of people be on the floor, may I ask how one would make an objection or make a parliamentary inquiry in the future if you're not on the floor but in the gallery?
Title III of the United States Code Debate
coming
is
with
not
the
permitted in the
facts.
joint session.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Vice President. I am not attempting
Gentleman's
to debate.
recognized.
I'm not attempting to debate. I'm trying to find out how a parliamentary inquiry or a parliamentary point of order would be made in following with the speaker's request that most of us not be on the floor. How do you make one of those points of order when you don't know what's going to happen later?
Respectfully,
Yes, sir.
the gentleman's parliamentary inquiry constitutes debate, which is not permitted in the joint session under Section 18 of Title III United States Code.
Period.
With that, Mr. Blunt.
Next. Basically, it's people in there trying to, I'm going to put it on mute real quick. They are wanting to, it's people in there just wanting to delay the inevitable, what's really about to happen. Like, and no matter what they debate, the fact still remains that they still are going to affirm that President-elect Biden won. He had victory. He did it. He won. And it's nothing they can do about it. No debate, no complaining, no trying to stop it, delay it. It don't matter. On January 20th, Joe Biden will be inaugurated. He will be our next president of the United States. And that's that. You know, there was a time where I thought about maybe wanting to get into politics to make a difference, but it's crazy because this
Mr. President,
makes
order in the chamber.
me
Mr.
not want
President,
to.
the gentleman will continue.
The certificate of the electoral
It's-
vote of
it's
the
too
state of
much.
Alabama seems to be regular in form and authentic. And it
All
appears
right,
therefrom
they're starting
that
to,
Donald
they
J.
are
Trump of the
convening,
state
and
of
this is
Florida
Senator
received
Roy
9 votes
Blunt.
for president, and Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana received 9 votes for vice president.
So they're all
Are there any
out of
objections
states
to
are
counting
now
the certificate of
reading
vote of the state of
the
Alabama
votes.
that the teller has verified
And it
appears
shows
to be
that
regular, informed,
Trump
and
got
authentic?
9 electoral votes in Alabama, which
Hearing
means
none.
he won Alabama.
This certificate from Alaska, the parliamentarians advise me, is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state, and that has annexed to it a certificate from an authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Alaska seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 3 votes for president, and Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana received 3 votes for vice president.
Basically saying
Are there any
that
objections to counting the certificate
Trump
of vote of
won
the state of
Alaska.
that the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic? Hearing none, this certificate from Arizona, the parliamentarians advise me, is the only.
so they
certificate of
not
vote
going to
that the
debate
state
nothing,
purports
but when
be
it
a
comes
return
to
from the
states
state,
that he
that
won,
is annexed to it a
I mean that he
certificate from
lost,
an
I
authority
think
of
that's
that
when
state
the
purporting
show is
to
about
appoint
to
or
start.
ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Arizona seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware received 11 votes for president, and Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 11 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to
They're
counting the
about to
certificate
object
of vote
Arizona.
of the
Ted
state of
Cruz said he
Arizona that
was
the teller has
already.
verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic?
Mr. Vice President, I, Paul Gilsar from
For
Arizona.
what purpose does the gentleman from Arizona rise?
I rise up for myself and 60 of my colleagues to
60
object
of his
to
colleagues
the
to
counting
object.
of the electoral ballots from Arizona.
Is the objection in writing and signed by a senator?
Yes, it is.
What senator? Look at these weirdos. Ted Cruz signed the objection. So, and they standing up clapping. This is crazy.
An objection presented in writing and signed by both a representative and a senator complies with the law, Chapter 1 of Title 3 of the United States Code. The clerk will report the objection.
Objection to counting the electoral votes of the state of Arizona. We, a member of the House of Representatives and a United States Senator, object to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Arizona on the ground that they were not, under all of the known circumstances, regularly given.
Are there further objections to the certificates from the state of Arizona? The chair hears none. The two houses will withdraw from joint session. Each house will deliberate separately on the pending objection and report its decision back to the joint session. The Senate will now retire to its chamber.
So for 2 hours,
So there you
they're
have
going to
it.
argue.
The first objection, they're going to be separated now. The senators will go back to the floor of the U.S. Senate. They will debate for 2 hours. They'll have a limited amount of speaking opportunities for all these various senators. John King, walk us through very quickly
Yo,
what's about to
this
happen.
is crazy,
So
but
the
John
joint
King
session
is
has
about to
broken
tell
up.
us
So
what
now you have the
happened.
Senate will go to its chamber. The House will stay there in the House chamber. They have 2 hours. They have 2 hours in the process, and as they walk through it here, you saw what happened. Normally, this plays out pretty quickly. The counting process is the tellers report the votes. They go to the vice president, and if there's no controversy, this moves along very quickly. Because you had objections offered by a House member in writing, signed by a senator in writing, that meets the process. That meets the test. So now they go off.
So
into the separate
basically,
chambers
y'all
and
gonna do
debate
this
for up to 2
all
hours.
day into
Members of
the
the House
wee
and members of the
hours of
Senate
the
can speak
night,
for up to
and
5
it's
minutes
still
if they
not gonna
like.
change
And at the end of
nothing?
those 2 hours, the
What
chair
a waste
signing off
of
for the Senate,
freaking
signing off for the
time.
House,
Like,
calls for a vote. They vote yea or nay, and then they come back and report it to the joint session. We know what's going to happen. The Senate will reject this, and the House will reject this, but it is an opportunity for the president's supporters to gum up the process, to make their objection, in this case, to Arizona, because they do the states in alphabetical order. You notice there was no specifics cited there. They allege there were these irregularities and fraud in the state of Arizona. Again, we have a process for dealing with this. It's called the courts. The president's team tried. The president's
and they
supporters tried,
lost.
and at every step,
And y'all
they lost.
lost.
But we know at the end of the day,
So
Joe Biden
I'm
will
gonna
vote
end this
for
live
certified by
because
Congress and by
2
the joint
hours
session.
later,
But this is allowed. Now they go off for 2 hours. They
I
will
guess
debate
I'll
Arizona. Then they will
meet
come
back up with y'all in 2 hours
Again,
and let y'all know what happened. So basically, Senate withdraws to debate the first objection made for Arizona because they do certify the states in alphabetical order. So right now, the Senate did because Ted Cruz and the representatives for Arizona is first because it's in alphabetical order.
Instead, now we're going 2 hours of debate in each chamber.
Yeah,
Jake,
what a waste of time. Because this debating doesn't do anything. They could debate all they want to. It's still not going to change the fact that they're still going to do this, and Joe Biden is still going to be president on January 20th. It's nothing they can do. Like, it's literally nothing they can do but debate. And so they're going to go through debating each one of these states. And we got 50 states. So this is going to be all day. Right now, they have to go and for 2 hours, a wasted 2 hours, debate something that's not going to change a dang on thing. It's not going to change nothing. And that's sad that people don't know politics. I think that if Americans had to take that test that the immigrants have to take to become citizens, we wouldn't be citizens, because they don't. A lot of us, I'm including me, don't know nothing about. But you know, hey. So I'm going to watch some CNN. I will keep you guys updated on what's going to take place next. I might come back on. Well, I will come back on in the next 2 hours to let you guys know what's crack-a-lacking. Because right now, time is being wasted. Oh, wait. Let me see what happens next. Let's see. I'm wondering, like,
we'll make an announcement with respect to the vote that the Senate took, announcing that the Senate has voted no on the objection, and then the clerk of the House will likewise make that pronouncement, after which the Vice President will announce that neither House having sustained the objection is not sustained. And at that point, I would certainly hope that they would move on to the next state.
Yeah, let me put it more bluntly than you just did. It is not going to happen. The House of Representatives is controlled by Democrats, and they would never vote to uphold this objection. And the U.S. Senate is controlled by Republicans, Deanna. But even though it is controlled by Republicans,
I'm watching John Tapper right now on
Senate, including and especially the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, opposes this farce.
That's right. And that's why the reporting from our colleagues on Capitol Hill is that we will likely hear from Mitch McConnell first when it comes to the Republican side. I'm sure he's not going to be as blunt as you just were, but his message is expected to be as clear, which is, this is not what we do. This is not appropriate. It's done. And let's move on. The debate is likely to continue a lot longer than that. But that is probably
I don't care who get
mad.
mad.
We're going to hear when it
Trump
comes to
is the sorest loser ever.
Republicans in the
Even
United
Hillary
States Senate and House
Clinton
have,
in
a debate on their own at
2016
the same
did
time.
concede
One
within
thing that we
24
heard,
hours after the
is an open
win.
mic situation, which I thought was really telling. We all heard it
We,
when the vice
the
president.
Democratic Party didn't do none of this.
We heard the vice president ask an aide, "Did my statement?" go
Joe
out?"
Biden
And we heard yes.
ran this
the
same
statement
ceremony
was
for
before
Trump.
this began, where he went through.
What is the problem?
He doesn't believe that.
Please, somebody tell me what the problem is.
Because he doesn't, as Alan Furman said, doesn't have an opportunity to say that while he's standing up there. He's speaking.
And Ted Cruz standing up so proud, looking like a damn
He wanted to
goof.
make sure before this started that this got out and explained.
It's like a game to them.
Constitutionally,
It's like a joke. It's weird.
He
Like,
is speaking, obviously, or signaling.
I don't
to
know.
President Trump
It's
that
almost
he
as
is
if it's a
one.
game. If
President
you're
Trump isn't
watching,
mentioned at all. Not at
Let me
all.
go
And
down
I did note that at the end of this letter, Pence says, 4 years ago, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, which ended with the words, "So help me God." That would be a completely unremarkable statement under normal circumstances. Let's actually listen to Speaker Pelosi as she
It's
continues with this joint session.
oh, wait a minute. Let's see
Concurrent
what Speaker
Resolution 1
Pelosi
in
has
Section
to say.
17 of Title 3 of the United States Code, when the two houses withdraw from the joint session to count the electoral vote for separate consideration of an objection, a representative may speak to the objection for 5 minutes and not more than once. Debate shall not exceed 2 hours, after which the chair will put in the question, shall the objection be agreed to? The clerk will report the objection made in the joint session.
Objection to counting the electoral votes of the state of Arizona. We, a member of the House of Representatives and a United States Senator, object to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Arizona on the ground that they were not, under all of the known circumstances regularly given. Signed, Paul Gosar, Representative, State of Arizona. Ted Cruz, Senator, State of Texas.
The chair will endeavor to alternate recognition between members seeking support.
So
of
the
objection
actual
and
senator
members
that
seeking
represents
opposition
Arizona
to the
ain't won no
objection.
parts.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to object to a number of states that did not follow the constitutional requirement for selecting electors.
Oh, so we
Madam
can
Speaker, this
sit
is something
through
that
this
is
for 2
clear that our
hours?
founding fathers debated about as a fundamental decision of how we choose our president. There was a lot of back and forth. If anyone reads the founding documents of our country about the different versions they went through to ultimately come up with a process where each state has elections, each state has a process for selecting their electors and sending them to Washington. And Madam Speaker, in a number of those states, that constitutional process was not followed. And that's why we're here to object. If you look at what the requirement says,
it's going to be a long 5
in Article
minutes
2,
for
Section
everybody.
1, does it give the Secretary of State of a state that ability. Nowhere does it give the governor that ability. Nowhere does it give a court that ability. It exclusively gives that ability to the legislatures. And in fact, in most states, that's the process that was followed. But for those states that this wasn't followed, unfortunately, this is not new. We've seen over and over again more states where the Democrat Party has gone in and selectively gone around this process. That has to end, Madam Speaker. We have to follow the constitutional process. Now, there might be reasons why some people don't like the process laid out by a legislative body. Madam Speaker, I served on one of those legislative bodies when I was in the state legislature for 12 years. I served on the House and Governmental Affairs Committee where we wrote the laws for our state's elections. And I can tell you, when we had to make changes, those were extensively
boring,
negotiated.
to say the least.
We would have people on both sides come, Republicans and Democrats,
This fool
Madam
keep
Speaker,
losing his
would get
mask.
together to work through those changes, any minute change, to how a precinct would function, to how a change would be made in the time of an election, signature requirements, all the many things that involve a clerk carrying out the duties in each parish in our
They
case.
keep saying that this
You
is
would see
nothing
people come
but-
and give testimony.
Mute this fool. So basically, they're saying that this is nothing like the senators that are doing this. This is nothing but an audition for the presidential run of 2024 for the Republicans that are not even the Republicans. There's two to the GOP. There are Republicans and Retrumplicans. It's a difference. That's what I'm seeing. I grew up studying politics my whole life because of my grandmother. This is even low for the Republican Party. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it ever. And my, me dealing with politics, I'm 51, and this is absolutely nuts. And he's still rambling on, and he has 5 minutes to do so. And then that's it. And the hearing cannot exceed 2 hours. I don't know. I don't know. It's just absolutely nuts. So, yeah, I'm going to let you guys listen to this for a little bit. I was going to go off, but F it. Let's go. He's pulling up papers. Let's
restore integrity to the election process, which has been lost by so many millions of Americans. And we had a vote. Every single Republican voted to reform the process, Every single Democrat voted against it. They don't want to fix this problem. But the Constitution is our guide. And it's time we start following the Constitution. It's time we get back to what our founding fathers said is the process.
Yeah, it's time we start following the Constitution.
It's the legislature. In public view, not behind closed doors, not smoke-filled rooms, not bullying somebody that might give you a better ruling.
What is going on, y'all? What is going on? So I'm going to go do something real quick, and I'm going to leave y'all to him. And hopefully when I come back, his 5 minutes will be up. Oh, wait, what just happened? No! Oh, Lord, let me get back. I didn't. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. I lost CNN and went somewhere else I wasn't supposed to go. Yes, I'm watching CNN on YouTube TV. Lord have mercy. Ooh, Waiting to Exhale is on. And it's the good part when dude tell Bernie that he cheated. Baby, the way she went off and burned everything in that car. Y'all check out Waiting to Exhale with Angela Bassett, Leela Rashawn, Whitney Houston, and what's the other lady? Oh, Loretta Devine. Yeah. Good movie from the 90s. Bomb soundtrack. And we're back to CNN. I think it's loading right now. I don't know what the heck. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, somebody else is talking now. Mitch McConnell is talking. Whoa, see, I missed a lot. Come on, you.
5 minutes of that time to any senator seeking recognition. Further, I ask unanimous consent that the senators be permitted to insert statements into the record.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
We're debating a step that has never been taken in American history. Whether Congress should overrule the voters and overturn a presidential election. I've served 36 years in the Senate. This will be the most important vote I've ever cast.
Majority Leader
President
Republican
Trump
Mitch
the election was
McConnell
stolen.
speaking right now.
The assertions range from specific local allegations to constitutional arguments to sweeping conspiracy theories. I supported the president's right.
Let
to
me get
use
on
the legal
Twitter,
system.
baby, because I know Trump is going
Dozens
in.
Lawsuits
Yeah, come on in.
receive hearings in courtrooms all across our country.
Because I'm letting my
But over and
audience
over.
hear.
The courts rejected these claims, including all-star judges whom the president himself has nominated.
Hey, fuck you. Shut up. Nobody wants to hear you.
Every election,
Martin, I'm on YouTube. You can't
we
be
know,
saying the
features
F-bomb.
some illegality and irregularity, and of course,
Wait.
That's
I'm
unacceptable.
about to come. Hey, y'all, listen to Mitch McConnell.
I support
Tell me
strong
what had happened in the
state-led
comments
voting
when I come back.
reforms. Last year's bizarre pandemic procedures must not become the new norm. But my colleagues, nothing before us proves illegality anywhere near the massive scale that would have tipped the entire election. Nor can public doubt alone justify a radical break when the doubt itself was incited without any evidence. The The Constitution gives us here in Congress a limited role. We cannot simply declare ourselves a national board of elections on steroids. The voters, the courts, and the states have all spoken. They've all spoken. If we overrule them, it would damage our republic forever. This election actually was not unusually close. Just in recent history, 1976, 2000, and 2004 were all closer than this one. The electoral college margin is almost identical to what it was in 2016. This election were overturned by mere allegations from the losing side, our democracy would enter a death spiral. We'd never see the whole nation accept an election again. Every 4 years there'd be a scramble for power at any cost. The Electoral College, which most of us on this side have been defending for years, would cease to exist, leaving
I guess
many
nothing
of our
happened.
states
Thank y'all, my 3 little viewers, for
with no real say at all
hanging in
choosing a
there.
president.
Hey, I'll be back.
The effects would go even beyond the elections themselves. Self-government, my colleagues, requires a shared commitment to the truth and a shared respect for the ground rules of our system. We cannot keep drifting apart into 2 separate tribes with a separate set of facts and separate realities, with nothing in common except our hostility towards each other and mistrust for the few national institutions that we all still share. Every time in the last 30 years that Democrats have lost a presidential race, they've tried to challenge just like this. After 2000, after 2004, after 2016. After 2004, a senator joined and forced the same debate. And believe it or not, Democrats like Harry Reid, Dick Durbin, and Hillary Clinton praised them and applauded the stunt. Republicans condemned those baseless efforts back then. And we just spent 4 years condemning Democrats' shameful attacks on the validity of President Trump's own election. So look, there can be no double standard. The media that is outraged today spent 4 years aiding and abetting Democrats' attacks on our institutions after they lost. But we must not imitate and escalate what we repudiate. Our duty is to govern for the public good. The United States Senate has a higher calling than an endless spiral of partisan vengeance.
Period. I mean, all I do like that makes sense. Like, how are you guys
the
going
voters,
to,
the states, and the courts for the first time ever
complain about what the Democrats, how they acted, and y'all acting the same way, and now it's good for y'all.
We need to
It's a
guarantee
double
Democrats
standard.
delegitimizing efforts after 2016 become a permanent new routine for both sides, or declare that our nation deserves a lot better than this. We'll either hasten down a poisonous path where only the winners of election actually accept the results, or show we can still muster the patriotic courage that our forebears showed not only in victory but in defeat.
Basically, take your
Congress
L
built the
and
Senate
go
to
on.
stop short-term passions from
And that's
boiling
for
over
both sides, Democrats
and
and
melting
Republicans.
the
Take
foundations
your
of our
L's,
republic.
be gracious about it, and move on. Or we're going to
Well,
give
I
out free
believe
Chucky hugs.
Protecting our constitutional order requires respecting the limits of our own power. It would be unfair and wrong to disenfranchise American voters and overrule the courts and the states on this extraordinarily thin basis. And I will not pretend such a vote would be a harmless protest gesture while relying on others to do the right thing. I will vote to respect the people's decision and defend our system of government as we know it.
As we know it.
Big leader.
Yeah, y'all deal with. Okay, so basically McConnell said if we overrule the voters, we can damage the republic forever. If y'all agree, get in the comments. Let me know what's up.
Vice President. As prescribed by the Constitution and the laws of the nation, the purpose of this joint session is for tellers, appointed on a bipartisan basis by the two houses, to read to the Congress the results of an election that has already happened. We are here to receive an announcement of a vote that has already been certified by every state in the Union and confirmed by the courts many times over. We're here to watch the current vice president open envelopes and receive the news of a verdict that has already been rendered. It is a solemn and august occasion, no doubt, but it is a formality. The Congress does not determine the outcome of elections, the people do. The Congress is not endowed with the power to administer elections. Our states are given that power. By the end of the proceedings today, it will be confirmed once again, something that is well known and well settled. The American people elected Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to be the next president and vice president of the United States. And yet, a number of our colleagues have organized an effort to undermine and object to that free and fair election. They're in the minority. They will lose. They know that. They have no evidence of widespread voter fraud upon which to base their objections. That's because there is none. There is none. Not brought before any of the courts successfully. They know that President Trump and his allies have suffered a defeat in court after court across the country, losing no fewer than 62 legal challenges. And I might add, many Republican-appointed judges, some appointed by President Trump, rendered those decisions. They know, you all know, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to be sworn in as President and Vice President of the United States on January 20th.
It ain't nothing y'all can do
But
about
they
it.
are going to object to the counting of the vote anyway. And in the process, they will embarrass themselves. They will embarrass their party. Worst of all, they will embarrass their country. This insurrection was fortunately discouraged by the leadership of the majority party, but it was not quelled. It is a very sad comment on our times that merely accepting the results of an election is considered an act of political courage. Sadder and more dangerous still is the fact that an element of the Republican Party believes their political viability hinges on the endorsement of an attempted coup. That anyone, much less an elected official, would be willing to tarnish our democracy in order to burnish their personal political fortunes. Over the course of the afternoon, and however far into the evening this band of Republican objectors wants to take us, senators of goodwill from both sides of the aisle will explain why these challenges must be dismissed. The senators from states whose electoral votes are being challenged will explain how the allegations of fraud are baseless. And a substantial bipartisan majority must vote to put down these objections and defend the sanctity of our elections and indeed, our great and grand democracy.
Indeed.
Because that's what we're talking about today. The health of our democracy. This wonderful, beautiful, grand democracy, where the peaceful passing of the torch is extolled by school children in the second grade, but not by some here.
Dang. I don't agree with everything Mitch McConnell, but
half of our voters are being
let
conditioned
them have it.
by the outgoing president to believe that when his party loses an election, the results must not be legitimate. As we speak, the eyes of the world are on this chamber, questioning whether America is still the shining example of democracy, the shining city on the hill. What message we send today? What message will we send today? To our people, to the world that has so looked up to us for centuries. What message will we send to fledgling democracies who study our Constitution, mirror our laws and traditions, in the hopes that they too can build a country ruled by the consent of the governed? What message will we send to those countries where democratic values are under assault and look to us to see if those values are still worth fighting for? What message will we send to every dark corner of the world where human rights are betrayed, elections are stolen, human dignity denied? What will we show those people? Will we show those people that there's a better way to ensure liberty and opportunity of humankind? Sadly, a small band of Republican objectors may darken the view of our democracy today, but a larger group of senators and House members from both sides of the aisle can send a message too. That democracy beats deep in the hearts of our citizens and our elected representatives. That we are a country of laws and of not men. That our traditions are not so easily discarded, even by our president. That facts matter. That truth matters. That while democracy allows free speech and free expression, even if that expression is anti-democratic, there will always be, praise God, a far broader and stronger coalition ready to push back and defend everything we hold dear. We can send that message today by voting in large and overwhelming numbers to defeat these objections. My colleagues, we each swore an oath just 3 days ago that we would defend and support the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that we would bear true faith and allegiance to the same. We swore that we took this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that we could well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office we were about to enter, so help us God.
So help us God.
The precise words of that oath were shortly written after the Civil War, when the idea of true faith and allegiance to this country and its Constitution took on enormous meaning.
Sorry, guys. I am an influencer.
Let those words ring in the ears of every senator today. Let us do our duty to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Why isn't this?
So help us God.
Majority Leader. I yield up to 5 minutes to the Senator from Texas, Senator Cruz.
Oh, Lord, Ted Cruz is about to speak.
Mr. President.
Senator.
We gathered together at a moment of great division.
Lord.
At a moment of great passion.
Wait, what?
We have seen and no doubt will continue to see a great deal of moralizing from both sides of the aisle.
I don't know.
But I would urge to both sides perhaps a bit less certitude and a bit more recognition that we are gathered at a time when democracy is in crisis.
All I'm trying to do is get a link. Hey, I got
recent polling shows that 39% of Americans believe the election that just occurred, quote, was rigged. You may not agree with that assessment.
Finally.
But it is nonetheless a reality for nearly half the country. I would note it is not just Republicans who believe that. 31% of independents agree with that statement. 17% of Democrats believe the election was rigged. Even if you do not share that conviction, it is the responsibility, I believe, of this office to acknowledge that is a profound threat to this country and to the legitimacy of any administrations that will come in the future. I want to take a moment to speak to my Democratic colleagues. I understand your guy is winning right now. If Democrats vote as a bloc, Joe Biden will almost certainly be certified as the next president of the United States. I want to speak to the Republicans who are considering voting against these objections. I understand your concerns, but I urge you to pause and think. What does it say to the nearly half the country that believes this election was rigged if we vote not even to consider the claims of illegality and fraud in this election? And I believe there's a better way. The leaders just spoke about setting aside the election. Let me be clear. I am not arguing for setting aside the result of this election. All of us are faced with two choices, both of which are lousy. One choice is vote against the objection. And tens of millions of Americans will see a vote against the objection as a statement that voter fraud doesn't matter, isn't real, and shouldn't be taken seriously. And a great many of us don't believe that. On the other hand, most, if not all of us, believe we should not set aside the results of an election just because our candidate may not have prevailed. And so I endeavored to look for door number 3, a third option, and for that I looked to history, to the precedent of the 1876 election, the Hayes-Tilden election, where this Congress appointed an electoral commission to examine claims of voter fraud. 5 House members, 5 senators, 5 Supreme Court justices examined the evidence and rendered a judgment. And what I would urge of this body is that we do the same. That we appoint an electoral commission to conduct a 10-day emergency audit, consider the evidence, and resolve the claims. For those on the Democratic aisle who say there is no evidence, they've been rejected, then you should rest in comfort. If that's the case, an electoral commission would reject those claims. But for those who respect the voters, simply telling the voters, go jump in a lake, the fact that you have deep concerns is of no moment to us. That jeopardizes, I believe, the legitimacy of this and
Ted
subsequent
Cruz
elections.
even made me lose viewers.
The Constitution gives to Congress the responsibility this day.
So I will be back. I'm about to
The
cut this
framers
stream
knew what they were
in
doing
the
when they gave
stream. It's going to be
responsibilities to
available
Congress. We
and live
have
with
a
Erica.
responsibility And I would urge that we follow the precedent of 1877.
Shut up, fool. Anyway, yeah, you can find this stream. It'll be archived in my playlist section under Live with Erica. Yeah. Y'all have an amazing day.